Today on Commander Replay, Yidris Ogre Tribal is back as we take a look at more bad tribal action against Orcs, Wolves, and Illusions. Find out who the best bad tribe is next on Commander Replay. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. We have one new Patreon supporter in Alex Weatherspoon. Alex, you are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below. And be sure to use the TCG affiliate player link as it helps support the channel and it doesn't cost you anything. Welcome back, everyone. We are playing some bad tribal today. We've got Yidris Maelstrom Wielder Ogre Tribal. Take a look at this opening hand. I've gone ahead and kept it already. It's got 3 lands, it's got a couple creatures, it's got a Plague Wind. It's a little bit slow, but this is a bad tribal game, so I'm not expecting anyone to come like out of the gate swinging super hard. We got Kamlik 2 piloting Zurgo Orc Tribal. I believe we've seen this one in the past in one of the bad tribal tournaments. It's actually, there's some pretty cool stuff in the deck, if I do recall. Things with like the dash mechanic and a Vanquisher's banner. If you're talking about something jankier like this, actually kind of cool. Anyway, that'll bring it to our turn 1. We draw a Hull Breach, so let's go ahead and play this Breeding Pool tapped, and we'll pass the turn. Continuing on our opponents, we do have Xenosai piloting Rayne Academy Chancellor. That's one that is not at all on my radar. It is a human wizard. It says, whenever you or a permanent you control becomes a target of spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. You may draw an additional card if Rayne is enchanted. They said that their commander isn't the same tribe as the rest of their deck, so we'll see what they have going. I have no idea what to do with that. I've never seen a Rayne deck before, so first time for me. We'll see what happens. And then finally, we've got Rogaku piloting Tolsimir, friend to wolves, assumingly going to be wolf tribal. And Tolsimir, cool little deck, but its problem tends to be that it's just like a little bit telegraphed in the sense of like everyone kind of knows what's coming. Both Tolsimir cards are significantly better than like most of the other things in the deck, so shooting those, so if you can't keep those in play, it does become very hard to win with that deck, is the thing that I've noticed. So anyway, hopefully we'll get a good look at their deck, and hopefully they get to do some fun things. That does bring it back to our turn. We draw yet another 4-drop. It's a Blood Speaker. Right here, I guess we just play this fetch land, and yeah, I'm going to go for the shuffles right here. Not feeling super confident in the Magic Online shuffling. We've got a green-blue, we've got a red, probably use something with a little bit of black in it. Let's go for the Blood Crypt tapped. That'll also get us our second red source for this Kazul. Brave the Sands for the Zurgo. Looks like it's going to be Illusion Tribal. We got a Gossamer Phantasm coming into play. Nice. Whenever you or a permanent you control becomes a target of spell or an ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. So oh, I get it now. I see what's going on. So that brings it to our turn 3. We draw into an Heirloom Blade. Not a land, but also at least something that's playable. So we'll go ahead and play it. We've got 37 lands in the deck. Pretty solid amount of ramp. Would love to catch a Cultivate off the top. Cultivate would make me super happy. Hit this turn's land drop and the next land drop. Might be asking a lot, though. At least if we can get one more land, we can get the Treasonous Ogre into play, and that'll give us a little bit more mana at the cost of life. So opponent going to cast their commander, a Rayne, coming into play. Sure. So one thing that I've noticed is that with how much the format has sped up and been powered up over the past like year and a half, playing tribal decks has gotten a lot harder. Like, you really need to make sure you're in a setting where no one just has a card in their deck that can just, like, win the game out of nowhere. If someone's got, like, a Tooth and Nail, or even, like, Rise of the Dark Realms, which is, you know, significantly less strong than that, tribal decks, a lot of them, especially the jankier ones, can have trouble competing. It's, I found that it's a very difficult space to be in now, especially, like, we'll take this deck for an example. There are actually a number of decent ogres. They don't really have a ton of synergy with each other, but some of them are just good cards. We've got Rurik Thar, we got Kazul, we got Heartless Hidasugu. Wrecking Ogre is, like, not terrible. But the problem is that a lot of these things are like 4, 5, and 6 mana. Rurik Thar is a bit strong. Like, Rurik Thar might be the only one that's like a backbreaker. But the problem is that at 4, 5, and 6 mana, none of these are really backbreakers in the way that like a Titan would be. And it's just a lot of mana. They're really clunky, and like they don't have tons and tons of impact. Ooh, we didn't catch the land. Oh, that hurts so bad. Ugh, crap. Well, I guess we're passing the turn. Oh, man. Magic Online. There were probably about 45 cards right there that would have been better than Ogre Slumlord. Well, looks like Zurgo's stuck also. Gotta love that Shuffler.
But anyway, yeah, so like the thing we were looking at, you have a lot of mana intense creatures that don't necessarily have tons and tons of board impact. A couple of them are all right, like Kazul is one of our better creatures. The problem is that things have just gotten so strong lately that, you know, a single good creature can win the game. Like, if someone drops a Nezzlehall and then they draw 10 cards with it, your tribal deck starts to look pretty bad against something like that. And I found that tribes are a pretty tough place to be. You really need to make sure that your opponents are on something very casual as well. So with that, especially with the power creep that's been going on, I've rolled off on the tribal decks a little bit lately. It's gotten tougher. Like, the other thing too is that you need to play so much ramp to keep up with fast decks. You need to play so much removal to keep up with powerful decks that really eats up a lot of deck slots. And it's tough to run like more than 25 creatures in a deck, even though you really want to be around 30. The stronger tribes are the ones like elves, where a lot of your creatures act as mana anyway. A lot of people will be like, oh, I run 34 lands in my elf deck. That's because every single creature in your deck makes mana. Sure, you can get away with 34 lands. Like, that's not a thing you can do with other tribes. With some tribes, you'll maybe get like a little bit more removal or a little bit more utility out of your creatures. Something like Soldier Tribal, there's actually like some decent stacks effects in there, like Thalia's and some stuff like that. So you do have some capacity to slow the game down. But, you know, a deck like Ogre Tribal, a deck like Knight Tribal, it's one I've been talking about a lot. Their effects tend to be not super impactful per each creature, especially compared to someone just slamming some big value creature like a Nezzlehall or a Titan or something like that. They look terrible against that sort of stuff. So yeah, just some thoughts on Tribal. I do believe Tribal is much harder to run now, now that the format's gotten strong. So you do really want to make sure that you're in that casual setting if you're going to be playing a deck like this. Anyway, that's enough on that. So we play the Treasonous Ogre. I guess this is 1 mana, right? That's 1 mana. We'll pay the 3 life right here, just in case something should happen. And puts a little bit of power on our Treasonous Ogre. Makes it a little bit scarier. I'm hoping the Treasonous Ogre can stay in play. That way we can at least get to some of our 5-drops next turn. I guess the other thing, we could have gone for Yidris as well. Maybe we'll also look at that. That might be a good idea. What's this thing do? I forget. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may sacrifice Bloodspeaker. If you do, search your library for a demon card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. Whenever a demon enters the battlefield under your control, return Bloodspeaker from your graveyard to your hand. Cool. So there were 2 demons in the deck initially. That's Razaketh and... what's the other one? The black-red one that makes you discard your hand. I got rid of that one. Can't think of the name of it right now. I got rid of that one because it's not really in the spirit of what a tribal deck wants to be doing. Now, if you're running your tribal deck against stronger decks, then yes, maybe you go for Sire of Insanity. That's the name of it. Maybe then you go for something like that because that's probably the way that your Ogre Tribal is gonna, push through. But for the sake of what we're doing here, Sire of Insanity kind of out of bounds, so I cut that one for this particular game. Opponent does lay down an Athreos. Athreos, pretty good. Mirror Maid. When Mirror Maid enters the battlefield, copy artifact or enchantment. Yep. Copies the Athreos. That seems really good with a illusion deck. Opponent going on the attack. A Gossamer Phantasm into the Tolsimir opponent. Yep. Tolsimir does gain life, so that's a thing they can do. They did lay down a Gaia's Cradle last turn too, so that's one thing to watch out for. And here comes a Wolfear Avenger with Flash. Here comes that Tolsimir. Ooh, an opponent's going to reality shift the Tolsimir. Ouch. So that becomes the problem with the Tolsimir deck, is that everyone just like shoots it and you never get to keep your commander in play. Really, most decks are pretty awful when you don't get to keep your commander in play. Like, sure, maybe there's a few CEDH and combo decks that like can manage without it, but like in general, 90% of decks don't do much when their commander gets repetitively shot. No attacks from the Wolves. I might have sent something over to the Illusion player after that little indiscretion right there. There's a land. Lands are super helpful. I was going to be very, very sad if we missed a land drop right there. We can attack with the Treasonous Ogre. Yeah, maybe we will. We get the +1/+1 counter, and this thing cares about +1/+1 counters. Combo! Remove a counter, do 2 damage to any target. Let's cast Yidris. And I think we'll do a little attacking into the Zurgo. They are on the throne. We get the dethrone. Is the opponent going to path this thing, really? They're going to swords it. Rude. Can't even move the thing over. That's super annoying. All right, well, I guess that's what's happening. We gain some life. As I was about to say, very little life gain in this deck. I guess opponents swordsing our stuff is the life gain. I, in fact, see no life gain in this deck. Potentially an issue. So you do need to be careful with something like Treasonous Ogre, and in some sense, it getting shot is probably a good thing for us. Because, yeah. High likelihood that we kill ourselves with it, more than it actually helps us. Zurgo coming back at us. Yeah, that's annoying. Opponent said they don't want to get hit. Well, I probably would have saved the swords right there. Dreamstalker coming into play. Yep. What is this thing? It's indestructible as long as it's your turn, so not if we attack them. A Somnophore. 2/2 flying. Deals damage to a player. Tap target creature that player controls. That creature doesn't untap during its untap step for as long as it remains on the battlefield. That's actually not bad. That can lock down like our commander. It can lock down the Zurgo. That being the case, I might try to attack somewhere else, just so they don't feel like we are a threat. Zurgo is a pretty scary card, so maybe they tap down the Zurgo. But Tolsimir coming back to play. And it's going to fight the Zurgo. Okay, we've got a path into the Zurgo now. Probably means that Yidris might be on the Somnophore tappy bit now, which like isn't amazing, but I would actually like to see another land off the top. If we get land off the top, we could go equip Heirloom Blade and then cast like Ogre Slumlord or something like that. Another thing to watch out for too, Mardu deck at the table. Mardu deck probably got some removal in it. It's tribal, so maybe not as much as you would typically expect out of a Zurgo, but I imagine there are at least a couple board wipes in there. So I don't know if I want to go... maybe we do go for Kazul. Yeah, we should go for Kazul. That way, because then if opponents want to get busy with attacking, we start getting Ogres out of the deal, and that seems pretty good, right? The other problem, too, is that with Zurgo not in play, if they have a board wipe, it's like prime time to use it. That is a big old Oh, no, we lost our Wolves opponent. They, disconnected due to timeout. Sadness. Well, we draw Razaketh. Not the card we wanted to see right there. The question is whether the Zurgo has a board wipe or not. If they have a board wipe, I'd prefer to not run our Kazul into it. But if they don't, I guess like the illusions aren't actually that scary, but probably still got to get the Kazul down anyway. So there's the Yidris trigger. You get them for 5. Play the Kazul. We'll put the Cascade on the bottom and then the Scry on top. There's a Berserker's Onslaught. Well, it's 5 mana, so we wouldn't get it anyway. So I guess we put it to the bottom. We hit a 3 visits. Not terrible. Not terrible. I am trying to get that mana going. Let's get a Tropical Island. It does come in untapped, which means we can equip this Heirloom Blade. Opponent plays an Orc Sure Shot. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, target creature and opponent controls get -1/-1 till end of turn. That'll be good at shooting down illusions. Luckily, there's a little bit of meat to the creatures we have currently, so they shouldn't be in too bad of shape against that particular ability. Here's a Venser's Journal for opponent. No max hand size. At the beginning of their upkeep, gain 1 life for each card in their hand. Yep, opponent's going to do some attacking. The Somnophore is coming in our way. That does trigger the Kazul. And that's exactly why I played it, but I don't think our commander is going to get to untap, which is going to shut off a little bit of our value. I was kind of hoping to get those double casts. Yep, gonna keep Yidris tapped. We're currently 3 mana away from the Plague Wind. 2 mana away from just hard casting Razaketh. Shared Animosity is a card. Yeah, I'm thinking, okay, so I'm thinking like Shared Animosity and Hull Breach? Maybe we'll wait on Hull Breach. Send an attack over to the Illusion's opponent. Shared Animosity will trigger twice. Such a good tribal card. Opponent going to throw the Dreamstalker in front of the token and just take the 9. Whoo! Down to 28. Probably hoping to gain life back with the Venser's Journal, and in all likelihood they will, unless it gets blown up before their turn, but I don't know. Venser's Journal is good. Really want to keep that Hull Breach for something much nastier than that, I feel. Ooh, I think if opponent keeps hitting us, then they could tap down the Kazul. Seems not amazing. Opponent can attack into us. Seems uncalled for. Changes their mind. Gonna swing into the Illusions. Don't know what their plan is to get through the Dreamstalker, though. I know what they can do. They can put 4 damage on it, and then they can cast a creature to give it -1 afterwards. That's a plan. That's a plan. So opponent blocks. I think they're taking the bait. Yep, here comes a creature. It's a Mardu Warshrieker raid. When it enters the battlefield, if you attack with a creature this turn, add Mardu. Cool. So opponent's going to Orc Sure Shot the Rayne. And Rayne will get to draw a card because it's been targeted by an opponent's ability. Opponent gets 3 mana. Rayne goes down. Ooh, that's a Light and Shadow. Yeah, that's why we saved that Hull Breach. That is 100% why we saved the Hull Breach. Opponent's going to equip the Light and Shadow. Yep. And they'll pass the turn. Venser's Journal will trigger. Opponent's going to gain 5 life. Oh, opponent's going to Curse of Swine. Gross. Well, we're going to lose Kazul. That's no good. Somnivore are going to attack us, and Gossamer Phantasm into the Orc opponent. Opponent's going to get the Somnivore ability, see what they go for. Goes for our Ogre token. Yep. That's a Wheel of Fate. Yeah, we'll probably suspend that. So I guess we go suspend Wheel of Fate, cast the Blood Speaker, make sure we scry. We have a Levitation on top. Levitation, it kind of solves. It's not a land. Really kind of need lands. Yeah, put it to the bottom. It does help against the flyers, but we need lands. Attacking with the 2/2 does not seem amazing. Funny story, there is a couple changelings in the deck, so if we suit up the boar and it dies for some reason, then we can get one of our changelings. See if there's any other demons in the deck. Actually, we just talked about it. We do have the changelings, so Razaketh, I believe, the only true demon left in the deck, which is in our hand currently, not amazing. We do have a Chameleon Colossus, a very reasonable card. We have a Nameless Inversion. I would take, yeah, I think we need, yeah, Nameless Inversion is actually really good. Is this Demon Creature? It's Demon Card. So we can sacrifice the Blood Speaker, get a Nameless Inversion, shoot the Somnivore, and that'll save some problems for us. Here comes Rayne back to play. Okay. Somnivore going on the attack. Yep. Gossamer Phantasm going on the attack, both into the Orc opponent. Somnivore going to tap one of the boars. Wheel of Fate will take down. Blood Speaker will trigger. Sacrifice the Blood Speaker. Wish it was equipped. Get the Nameless Inversion. We draw a forest. We do need lands. Play the land. Puts us on 7 mana. That's enough to go Slumlord and Nameless Inversion, I think. Do we have enough black mana? No, we do not. 1, 2. We have 2 black sources, so that's not going to work. So I think that puts us on Bulrak Clan Clusher, Nameless Inversion. Light and Shadows. Oh, opponent just played a Warstorm Surge. That needs to get shot. Okay, so that puts us on Hull Breach. Shoot the Light and Shadow, shoot the Warstorm Surge. Equip the Heirloom Blade to the Boar. And then we'll pass like that and Nameless Inversion the Somnivore before they untap. Exquisite Blood for opponent. Yeah, that's a nasty one. Whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. Seems bad. Let's Nameless Inversion the Somnivore. I think if we use the Path of Ancestry, we get to scry, don't we? We do not. Must be a creature. When a mana is spent to cast a creature spell, Nameless Inversion is not a creature spell. Was worth a shot, right? Although we could have read it beforehand. Opponent's going to get an Athreos trigger. I assume that they pay the life, because Somnivore is kind of a headache. Yeah, they paid the life. Whew. Somnivore. What? Opponent going to gain some life back with the Venser's Journal. Yeah, that was a high likelihood for target that could have got shot also. But protection from 2 colors, pretty strong. Launch. Enchanted creature has flying. When it's put into the graveyard from the battlefield, return launch to its owner's hand. Could be worse. Aura Thief. When it dies, gain control of all enchantments. What? Oh. Really? It has flying? Ugh. Don't like any of this. Don't like any of this. Phantasm going on the attack into the Orc opponent. Wheel of Fate ticking down. We draw Farseek. I guess I really don't want that Aura Thief to die. So I guess we're on the kill the Orcs plan. We'll leave the Heirloom Blade right where it is. If they didn't have the Exquisite Blood, I probably go after the Illusions right here, but Exquisite Blood is a pretty problematic card. Shared Animosity triggers a bunch of times. Big hit into the Orc opponent. They go down to 4. Yidris will trigger. Since I know the wheel's coming up, we're going to go Ogre Slumlord right here, and then Farseek. So Cascade on the bottom, Scry on top. It's a 6-drop, so I guess we just put it to the bottom anyway. Felwar Stone. Yeah, Felwar Stone's fine. Cast the Felwar Stone. Cast the Farseek. It'll Cascade. There's an Ancestral Vision. I guess we'll draw a bunch of cards. There's a land. Lands are cool. How much longer do we have on the 2 turns? 2 turns. Probably use we need more black mana actually. Get Underground Sea. Play the Arid Mesa. Yeah, that all worked out pretty well. We have Ogre Battle Driver. Battle Driver is interesting because depending on how much mana we have, if we can get like a second creature in, I mean the ability to give your stuff haste is just good. Plus with the shared animosity we can do some damage. But we can also Plague Wind too. Opponent lost the life to, looked like City of Brass. Opponent gaining more life, they go up to 50. Whew. That's a cage, son. That's a big problem. That's a very big problem. We could go, let's see, if we put Heirloom Blade on Yidris, we attack with a couple Ogres. That'll make it 8 power. If we attack with this one and this one, it'll get 2 additional power. That's 9 power. We could double strike it with the Wrecking Ogre, which gives it, if they don't block, enough to be lethal. Opponent gonna do some attacking. Yep, we're just gonna be taken. That will gain the Orc opponent a bunch of life back. They go up to 9. Not bad, not bad. May keep them alive, though. There's a Blasphemous Act. I don't know if that's the one we need. So let's move the Heirloom Blade. Go to combat. Send Yidris into the blue player. Oh, the Orc opponent's going to gain so much life back. I think we send everything into the blue player. I want to try to force them to block a little bit. Shared Animosity will trigger 4 times. Opponent goes only a single block. All right, Wrecking Ogre time. Bloodbrush the Wrecking Ogre. It hits. Opponent gains a bunch of life with the Exquisite. Down the illusions go, but that's so many Exquisite blood triggers. Opponent's gaining back like all of their life. Ooh. I guess the only thing we can really do, crack this Arid Mesa. We can play the Ogre Battle Driver. Make sure we get something with some red. Opponent gains more life. Opponent's up to 45. Ooh. They only have 3 cards in hand, though. Take my chances with that over the blue player who's gaining a lot of life, now has mana doubling and all that sort of stuff. Get the Volcanic Island, play the Ogre Battle Driver. The Rustmouth Ogre is back. We'll put it to the bottom since we can't get it. There's a Sylvan Library. I think we'll cast that. And there's a Rhystic Study. Finally hitting the good cards. And we've got ourselves a Battle Driver. Opponent does need removal. A board wipe would slow us down like a lot. Like a lot. This is not a surefire situation here. They're also at 46 life, which is a ton. Based on our current state, I mean, I think it still takes us probably 2 turns to kill them. Maybe, well, we're probably going to wheel in all likelihood on our turn, so we'll see what happens. Nope, just going to recast Zurgo. That's probably the better bet for us. That'll trigger the Rhystic Study. They do have the 1. Yeah, they pay the 1. Guess it doesn't matter. The wheel's going to fire off anyway. Zurgo swinging into us. It's going to put us at 14 Commander. Ooh, it's going to gain them a bunch of life. But Ogre Battle Driver, too important to give up. The haste is going to be so good. Yep, opponent gets us 14 Commander. They're gaining 7 more life. Wheel of Fate's going to trigger. We're going to lose Razaketh, sadly. But we do have that 1 Gravedigger card. Cast Wheel of Fate. We get a bunch of new cards. Sylvan Library will trigger. Take a look at the library. Let's see. Get rid of the City of Brass. That's a World at War. World at War and In Garrick's Wake are really good cards. Somehow we missed most of the creatures, though. Put the City of Brass back on top. And keep a land. Coat of Arms is a card. I guess put the Herald's Horn back on top. Play the Overgrown Tomb untapped. We could Heartless Hitasugu is what we could do. Do we have 10 mana? If we have 10 mana and 4 red, we can go Heartless and World at War, and that should be like plenty of damage. We have 11 mana, so we have enough to do it. Does this make red? That makes red. Red. Okay, so yeah, we have enough red to do all this. All right, yeah, I think that's the plan. Heartless Hitasugu. Actually, ooh, we got to be careful with Heartless. Actually, no, we'll lose 7 life on Heartless, and opponent will lose what, 20 something. So cast Heartless Hitasugu. It'll get +2/+0. Go to combat. Start attacking with stuff. Shared Animosity will trigger. Opponent does some blocking. Yidris the only creature we have with Trample currently. Activate the Heartless. Opponent gains themselves some life. We go down to 8. They go down to 27. So it looks like we're going to trample through for 9. They go down to 19. Athreos triggers 3 times. Yidris will trigger. Slumlord will trigger. Ooh, and that rat token's going to come in with haste unless... Nope, the Battle Driver went down. Okay. But more importantly, opponent has no blockers left. We're not going to pay the life right here. We're pretty low. Get a rat. Get the Yidris ability. Cast World at War. It'll cascade. Get the Herald's Horn. Choose Ogre. Get ourselves an additional combat. Untap all creatures that attacked this turn. Opponent's also a 20 commander, so this should do it. And attack with everything again. Shared Animosity will trigger. And down they go. Yeah, Ogre Tribal, finally getting to look at it. Oh, last time we played it, someone just played like an I win card, and Ogre Tribal doesn't hold up so well against I win cards. 13 turns right there, and that was with an opponent getting disconnected, so if they didn't, the game goes probably even longer. But yeah, fun little deck. It's super, super janky, not high power at all. There's a couple good cards in there just to give it like some semblance of the ability to do anything. Things like Razaketh. I've got an Oracle of Moldiah in there just so you can play a lot of lands because the deck is pretty mana hungry. Lots of 5-drops, more 5-drops than you probably want to be running. Because of that, I've also got a decent amount of cost reduction that can ease the burden a little bit with the 5-drops. Wouldn't say no to an Immortal Sun for additional cost reduction either. It just depends on where you want to put your mana ramp in this deck. But yeah, fun little game. We got to see some cool stuff. We saw Illusion Tribal, one that I have not seen. We got to see the Orc Tribal deck again. Had a little bit of trouble. Zurgo didn't stay in play. And I think the rest of the Orcs really want Zurgo in there as kind of a big body and big threat. Plus, I guess we also fired some removal in their direction. We got rid of a couple of their artifacts and enchantments, which would have been pretty powerful. The sword starts to make things look a lot better, too. But I think one of the big things in this game, no one played a board wipe. If they do, then the game kind of resets and everything slows down again. And, you know, then it's a matter of who can rebuild. Zurgo probably going to win the rebuilding war just because of the haste. Although the blue opponent also had a mana doubler in play, so if we can't get rid of that, that's also a really big problem. But yeah, that's how the game goes. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.